Hey, I'm Matt. In this video, we're going to be talking about NativeScript versus React Native and why you would want to use one over the other. By the end of this video, you're going to have a good idea of which framework will work better for you and which one you can use for your next project. Also, I'm mostly going to be talking about like the dev experience between the two, but I'm also going to touch on stuff like the performance and the community. Now, before I start, I just want to quickly say that I've used NativeScript a lot more than I've used React Native. So if I get anything wrong about React Native, feel free to let me know in the comments. And yeah, thanks. All right, let's get started. Okay, so let's start with why you would want to choose one over the other. And to make it just really simple, I think honestly, just go with whether you like React or Angular. One of the best things about NativeScript is that you can use kind of whatever like web framework you want with it. So you can use like, what's it called, Angular or Vue.js, or you could just use plain vanilla JS. And obviously, if you're using React Native, you have to use React. So I think that should be the first thing you're looking into, whether you're choosing between the two. And usually just go with whatever web framework you like better. Okay, let's talk about performance. So from the research I've done, basically both React Native and NativeScript have similar performance. I haven't run any like simulations between the two, so I can't exactly tell you like the benchmarks of like comparing the two. By the end of the day, when you compile your APK or your release build, you're going to get a native app with performance that's on par or close to a real 100% native built app. I actually did find a few sources that say that React Native does have better performance than NativeScript. Also, performance is mostly going to depend on like what you're building. If your app is just a standard like input output forms, and there's not too much going on, you're not really going to have to worry about performance. You have to start worrying about performance when you have like lots of complex animations, lots of views being rendered at once, and things like that. Or if you're building like a game or something, which I actually have done with NativeScript. So if you want to know how a game performs on NativeScript, feel free to check out my app. It's called King's Draw. It's just a simple card game. And yeah, it's on the Google Play Store and App Store. Okay, so I'm going to just talk about the community. So the NativeScript community is basically just a bunch of salty developers who complain all day about the React Native community being better. Okay, no, I'm kidding. But the NativeScript community is actually significantly smaller than the React Native community. And depending on how you look at it, that can be either a good thing or bad thing. For example, is like a bigger community usually means that if you run into a problem, you're probably not the first person to have that problem, and you can probably find an answer for that problem pretty easily. But having a small community means that if you have a question or an issue, you're more likely to get a response from, say, like a developer or like a plugin author compared to like having like, you know, sending in a question for like within a pool of like 5,000 other questions. When it comes to the actual dev experience and actually working with one of these frameworks, I'm just going to quickly make like a checklist of what features they have. So both React Native and NativeScript have hot reload. They both have like a code playground so you can do fast prototyping. They both have a large library of plugins, so you're probably going to find any plugin that you need, whether you need to use like the camera, Google Maps, location services, push notifications, all that kind of stuff. Like both of these are going to be able to do those. But when it comes to actual plugins, NativeScript has an actual official like marketplace for NativeScript plugins. You don't have to like buy them, but basically it just means that there's a place for official like NativeScript approved plugins that you can actually use, and they're actually like supported by NativeScript. From my understanding, React Native just has a bunch of third-party plugins that are handled by individual developers. All right, those are basically my thoughts on the two frameworks. I think it really just comes down to whether you like React or don't. And obviously, I think the most important choice between when deciding on the two is what web framework you want to work with the most. Because obviously you're going to be using it on a daily basis or whenever you're working on this project. So if you like React, probably stick with React Native. If you like Angular or Vue, you can probably go with NativeScript. And yeah, like you probably won't go, you can't really go wrong with either two. So it's really just personal preference between whatever web framework you want. Both of them are just gonna have like the features that you're looking for. And yeah, that's basically this video. So thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. And if you have any questions between the two or comments, feel free to comment below and I'll answer them. Thanks. See ya.